Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Off the Wall. I'm your host, Joshua Wall, and joining me on today's show is Nicole Doumont. Nicole, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I'm super pumped.
Awesome. So let's start off. Who's Nicole? Nicole, tell our viewers about you.
Oh, it's very simple, but yet very complicated, that question and answer. I'm a woman on a mission, number one. I'm a mom, fiance, daughter, sister, but I'm also the CEO and co-founder of Elite Fitness Team, an online health and fitness business. I coach women 40 plus to lose weight, improve their health, eating foods they love without over exercising.
And all around inspirational person. It's actually through your marketing and advertising that I met you, and I fell in love with what you do. Are you from Brantford?
I'm actually from Trenton, Ontario.
Okay.
That's where the military is. I am not a military brat, though.
Okay.
Born and raised there, and then long story short, I traveled a little bit, and now I'm here in Brantford for about 13 years.
And the city is better off for it. So honestly, thank you for coming on the show. So let's talk about your company, Elite Fitness Team. You touched on it briefly, but how did you get started? Tell us a little bit about your day-to-day. Obviously, the world is a completely different place than it was when you started your business. How have you adapted? How have things changed? Tell us everything.
Oh my goodness. Like, what a question. I have been obsessively passionate about health and fitness for 30 years. So since I was 12, it just clicked for me, from getting my black belt in martial arts to teaching aerobics when I was 18. And then I started personal training at 24. And I learned so much. Wayne and I decided to open up our own private personal training studio. So we've celebrated 10 years in business as of July 1st. So that's a huge win for me and for us. I do love the story on how it really got started. So would you like to hear that?
Please. Has it always, tell us the whole story.
Okay. Well, I'm excited about this because this going from working for a company and transitioning into being an entrepreneur really shows that you have to have courage, guts, and you have to take massive action. So we were both working at the same gym and we wanted more. So, and we've always been into motivation and inspiration. So we went to Toronto for a 3-day Tony Robbins seminar, or known as Anthony Robbins as well.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins. Who doesn't love Tony Robbins?
Like, who doesn't know who that is, right?
Yep.
So we traveled to Toronto with 2 clients because we have great relationships with our clients. Did a 3-day seminar, and I'm all about action. So I don't like to just go on Pinterest and look for motivation. I like to, okay, let's take some action, because I believe that action, that's where the motivation comes from. Is after you take action. So at the end of the 3-day seminar, I was like, yeah, it was like rah, good for us, but what now? I'm not happy with what I'm doing. So I made us all get into a pact, the 4 of us, in the gym where he held the seminar. Before we left those doors, we had to make a promise to ourselves. And I remember it was June 14th, 2009. I remember that date. I said, okay, in 1 year exactly from this date, if we're still doing the same thing, unhappy, complaining, same thing over and over again, insanity, we had to quit no matter what we were doing, no matter what the bills were coming in.
And just get it done.
Just get it done. So the months went by, the seasons went by, and all of a sudden it was June 14th, 2010, 1 year later, and we hadn't made one move.
So it was time.
It was time. So Wayne and I are, we keep our word. So we had a conversation. It was a little heated, not fighting, just like, holy shit, like, oh, sorry. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And so he just said, you know what? He marched up the stairs, found 2 random resignation letters, printed them off. We signed it, handed them in. We're like, okay, we're done.
Just like that.
We had mortgage to pay, child support to pay, bills to pay. We had bills to pay.
Yep.
And And it still wasn't, until about 3 weeks later after we quit, we had no idea what we were going to do. The fire under your butt does not get ignited until you are under pressure.
Pressure. That's how diamonds are formed. You need pressure.
Yeah. So I love this story because I'm so proud of us over 10 years later that we took that leap of faith. We had the guts.
So are you saying it's your 10-year anniversary?
July 1st, Canada Day. Yeah. 2020 was our 10-year anniversary.
Wow. Yeah, it's 2021 now. Yeah. Forgot about that.
Boom. It's all of a sudden here.
10 years now. So did you start with a client roster, or talk about how did you build up your client? How did you get the word out? And I said earlier, we met because of your marketing, because of you getting out there. I can only imagine that, if you lit the fire under me to get to know you, I can imagine. Talk about your clientele and your client base.
Well, we had no idea what we were doing. We had zero experience starting a business. So we knew we had to get attention. That's all we knew. So we hired a coach to help us do fitness shows. So we ended up doing 5 fitness shows in 8 months, our first year in business.
Wow.
So it was one of the hardest years of our life because we were not only building a business, we were training hard for this. So the pictures and the transformations that we post on Facebook, I didn't even have Facebook before this, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want to be on social media, but when we got a business, we knew we had it too. So we started posting, for the first little while, we did a lot of free sessions.
I mean, you always got to start off by volunteering or, donating or giving your time for yourself to grow what you're doing. It's a big part of getting out there and just doing it. Sometimes you don't get paid, but the rewards, obviously.
And if you love what you're doing, then that's okay.
Absolutely.
So we knew we needed attention. So we were working hard on the fitness show part so we could get attention on Facebook, doing free demos. We didn't pay ourselves for 6 months.
Yep.
So our mortgage, child support, everything was paid through Visa. And then we just slowly, because we're passionate and we are, very good at what we do, it just started to evolve. So we had to hire some trainers and we just kept getting busier and busier. And we noticed that most of the transformations only came from when they followed a nutrition plan along with the personal training.
Yep.
So, long story short, in 2018, we decided to do something else that took a lot of courage.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Well, we decided to close down our studio after 8 years in business that was doing very well. Yeah. To go 100% online.
And that's a perfect segue to what I wanted to ask you about next. So you don't have a physical location.
No, we decided that all of the results were coming from when our clients followed our nutrition plan and did the daily accountability.
Yep.
If someone was just coming in just for our kick butt workouts, they would get a great workout, but then they'd go home and eat whatever, and they never really changed. So
let's go do 10 sets and go home and eat nachos.
Right. Living the dream, but not getting results. So
nutrition. So yes. Tell me if you can tell us about a day-to-day. So I mean, obviously, if somebody wants to become your client, it's, I'm sure, much more focused. But what's your day-to-day like?
As working?
Absolutely. You wake up and then what?
Well, it's not perfect. I'm definitely a workaholic.
Okay.
So I work 12 hours minimum, and that's because I have a daughter. If I didn't have a daughter, I would be working like 15 or more hours a day.
You got to make time for family, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I wake up around 5. And then while I'm having a couple cups of coffee by the fire, I'm answering, messages. And then we get our daughter ready for daycare. And, I'm doing my one-on-one coaching for a few hours in the morning. I do transformation game plan calls with potential new clients, orientation calls with clients, support calls with clients. And then, I have to find time to create social media posts to show people what I do. just constantly learning. We have business coaches. We believe in investing into ourselves. So we have Zoom calls for that. We're always evolving. You know, I'm 42 years young, and we've been in business for over 10 years. I've been doing this for like 24 to 30 years, depending on how you look at it. I literally feel like I'm just getting started.
I feel the same way. No matter how much I push or how much I do, I still feel like I'm just getting started. So some more questions then about your company. How big's your team? Is it just you? And
we have hired, you know, trainers in the past when we had the studio. We've tried, we have some chat specialists that help us with messages, answering messages. We have an assistant coach. We do have a team for digital marketing. What else do we have? We have about 5 on our team right now.
okay. And then, I mean, obviously you're busy and you're doing great. Are you taking on new clients?
Very, very specific clients.
Okay, so that's important. Touch on that.
So when we transitioned online, it was very different. The business is very different from in person. So we would take on whoever wanted personal training. You could be a man, you could be a woman, you could be 18, you could be 80. Now online, to really make sure through all of the distraction, you know, you want somebody to know what you do right away. So you have 2 to 3 seconds before somebody knows whether they want to stay on your page or not.
Yep.
So, and this is what we've learned through investing in ourselves with a coach, right? We wanted to learn about 1,000 times faster than just Googling. So they taught us, and you know what, like, I feel really connected to women. And because I'm, you know, 40 plus, I want to work with women that are 40 plus, not only because I'm that age, but I feel women have it harder when it comes to weight. And I feel like we've been dieting off and on all of our life. And I'm really passionate about helping women do it a different way. So, you know, I am huge into making sure you don't hate your life while you lose weight. And I love teaching my ladies how to keep it off after, because I have been challenged with depression and, you know, off and on. And I found that, you know, your health and fitness, your weight is the foundation of your body confidence, your mental confidence, your energy. I've been this successful even with being challenged with depression, because I have so many habits and the system in place to make sure that I stay strong.
So let me ask you this. Why? Why do you get up every day and do this? Why? And what's your favorite part?
Oh my gosh, there's so much I love about it. It's just, I get so much satisfaction when my clients lose weight and they're happy in their skin. Like, it's like a dopamine hit, right? So that's why I do it. I don't like thinking of somebody sitting on the couch, feeling confused, feeling overwhelmed, feeling lost. Like, I think of that person. I don't want anyone feeling bad about themselves. So I make sure that I can reach as many people as possible to help them feel, because it can happen overnight. You can literally feel in control. You can feel more confident like that. So that's what I love. I'm like, I know I can help people. So the thought of, you know, thinking of someone not feeling like crying themselves to sleep, you know, not having a good relationship with their husband, you know, not having quality time with their children, not flourishing at work like they should. Like, the thought of somebody suffering like that, I hate that. So if I can reduce that and help that in any way, that fills my cup.
That's inspiring. And thank you for sharing that with us. And it leads right into what I want to talk about next. It's the theme of today's episode that you and we decided together, inspiration. So your job it seems, is all about inspiring people. And it's amazing to see. It's amazing that you're here to talk about it today. But I want to know, where do you get your inspiration? How do you stay inspired? What inspires Nicole?
I've always had a fire inside of me. So that one is kind of unexplainable. You either have that or you don't. I've always wanted to, I asked my parents if I could work when I was 15 so that I had the independence to buy them Christmas gifts. So I've always had a very strong work ethic and a fire to do great things. So that is either have it or you don't, I think. You know, I started to implement strategies more when I became a little challenged with depression in my 20s. So I wrote out like 100 positive affirmations, this, especially when we started the new business. That was tough.
Affirmations are huge for anybody, you know, just put positivity into the universe.
Yeah.
Make it real, make it visual. Affirmations are huge. So
I created a docs and I typed in how I wanted to feel, and I would read it every morning over and over and over again. And you have to do it so much that all of a sudden, like, you have this burst inside of you and you start believing it. And then you can see what you've written, and all of a sudden, like, the universe, like, I know this is going to sound crazy to some people, but the universe starts to align with you.
I don't think it sounds crazy at all. If you do good and put good into the universe reciprocates that. And it's a beautiful thing.
You know, I had a saying when I was a waitress too, put myself through college, fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Yep.
Right? Like,
you want to go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, I haven't always been this confident and inspirational, and it takes work every single day.
Yep.
So you just have to morph into this person and know that you are worth it, right? It all comes down to self-worth, self-esteem. And even if you're having a bad day, just say, whatever, I'm the queen. I'm awesome. You are worth it.
You can't, how do you judge the good days if you don't have the bad days? You gotta trip, you gotta stumble, you gotta fall, you have to fail, you have to learn from your mistakes. You only get better if you make mistakes, if you have bad days. And you're absolutely right about that. So your inspiration, what I'm hearing, comes from within. You have surrounded yourself and convinced yourself to inspire yourself. That's powerful.
Yeah, it's all up in here. You know, it's all up in there. You know, there was something I did, I won't share here, but I did do something in my 20s that is very controversial.
Okay.
And I didn't tell anyone I was going to do it because I didn't want 100 different opinions.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Mm-hmm. So that's one tip. So if you really want to do something that's for you and you're not going to harm anyone, I didn't harm anyone.
Yep.
No one was harmed in this, but it was something that I wanted to do for me.
Yeah.
But I knew if I told my mom, my dad, my brother, my best friend, people at work, I'd have like 100 different opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I do to protect my brain is I don't tell people.
Almost every person in my life who I look to as a mentor, or the people who inspire me in my life, did something crazy. They did something that was off the wall. They did something that everyone said wouldn't work. And as you said, you know, sometimes it's easier to just do and figure it out later than to have somebody else talk you out of doing it. This is great. Thank you for sharing this stuff with us, Nicole. So now, we talked about it before we went live. Giving back to the community is a huge part. It's a huge part of my business. I know that it's a huge part of your business. And it's just, you know, we all have the capability to do so much good, you know, get out there and do good in the community. So I wanted to ask you about an initiative or a program or a nonprofit or something in your community that you're passionate about that, you know, you'd like to talk about and share with our audience.
You know, I'm really passionate about empowering women.
I can tell. It's also working on men, speaking from experience right now in this interview. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, and it all kind of got elevated once I had my daughter.
Okay.
So she's 4.5. And, you know, I want her growing into the most confident woman that feels she is worth everything the world has to offer her. And so my inspiration is definitely from her. But I'm just so passionate about helping. I just want women to know that they're worth it and they are so capable of everything a man is capable of, except for growing crazy muscle without, but, mindset wise, women are so capable and they just need to realize they don't have to live in the Flintstone years in the kitchen, doing 100 different things and just losing their mind, losing themselves and not knowing who they really are.
It's so important that everybody has an opportunity, no matter who they are, no matter, what they identify as, or, anything. We all are here and we should all have an opportunity to be able to be who we want to be and do what we want to be able to do. And it's people like you who thankfully are inspiring that and ensuring it. So is there any particular organization, nonprofit in town that you've done work with in the past or that you want to shout out?
Nova Vita.
Yep.
I've definitely been involved with them. I definitely would love to find a really helpful way to get involved, not just with donations and, money, but, I'd really like to find a creative way to help. I don't know how to do that.
It's funny you mentioned Nova Vita specifically. You might not know this, but the very first nonprofit I ever got involved with on a very intimate level was Nova Vita. A representative of their company used to shop at the store that I used to work at, and they approached me and asked if I'd be interested in participating in, at the time, what was called Men in Heels. And I'm like, sure, what do you want me to do? And they're like, well, toss on a pair of high heels and get people to sponsor you wearing those high heels. I'm like, sure, how about this? I'll one up it and I'll walk a mile in her shoes, which was the slogan at the time. And for the fundraising, I actually worked in high heels at the store.
Oh my.
And it was just you spoke a little bit earlier, and we won't dive into too much, but gender roles. Wearing high heels to work and working a whole day in high heels, like, how did that become the norm? And, if that's what you want to do, that's absolutely fine. But working an 8-hour shift in a sales environment, in a retail environment, in a pair of ruby red high heels, one, I was able to raise a ton of money doing it. But it really goes to show you that, there are some interesting norms out there. And now it's evolved. It's heels to heels through Nova Vita, and it's still a big thing. To shout out Nova Vita, I mean, they need help right now. I mean, all non-for-profits right now, especially what's going on in the world, need support. And I know that you can just Google their name, you can find their Canada Helps page, or you can donate directly through there. So thank you for supporting Nova Vita, Nicole.
My pleasure. Absolutely.
And it's important to both of us. Okay, I think we're at the end. Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
Okay, so what I want to ask you, because I'm sure now after watching this far into the episode, people probably want to get to know you better and to follow your story. And if they do want to be a part of what you're doing or get in touch with you, or they know somebody who could utilize your services or anything, how do we get in touch with Nicole? Where do we find you on all the social medias? How do we get in touch with you?
There's quite a few, but the biggest thing to know is my name spelled properly. So Nicole Doumont. NicoleDoumont. So
okay.
I'm on Facebook. That's how you'll find me on Facebook. We have a business account as well, Elite Fitness Team.
Okay.
I'm huge on Instagram, which is Nicole Doumont _ Elite Fitness Team. And I'm just getting into TikTok, loving TikTok.
Okay.
That's also at Nicole Doumont. So as long as you have my name spelled right, you can find me there.
So one more time then, spell your last name for the people watching. It's
Doumont.
That's fantastic. I can attest, if you follow this woman on social media, she will inspire you. She will make you feel better about yourself. She will convince you to have a great day, even if you have convinced yourself that you don't want to. Nicole, I'm so thankful you could be on the show. Great way to kick off 2021 with inspiration, feeling empowered. And I'm thankful for you, for everything that you do, for your clients, for the people of this community. Thank you for being here.
Well, my pleasure, first of all. Thank you so much for calling last week and letting me in on this opportunity, because, you know, I know we just met very briefly before 2020 March when COVID started. But I love your energy. I love that you are so into so many different things, so that you were able to do this interview with me. So thank you.
I'm excited. We are looking forward to having a really great season. We've got a dozen guests lined up. So every week we're going to be back. It's Off the Wall. I'm your host, Joshua Wall, and Nicole. Thank you for being here, Nicole. Have a fantastic day, and we'll talk soon.